All right, let's go back to the start. Vincent, what was the first spark, the image that convinced you Sand and Silence was a story you needed to write?
Heat shimmer out on the horizon. Yeah, that's what started it. I just saw this figure in a desert, kind of walking with nothing to prove. I actually scribbled it as a line in a margin somewhere. At that point, I didn't even know if he was a soldier or, I don't know, maybe a father or a pilgrim. The only things I knew were that he was carrying something he couldn't just drop, and the land was honest. No, it wouldn't flatter him. It forces you to be honest too, after a while.
That's such a still, dignified image. Your stories, they keep circling aftermath, consequence, the quiet after the loud. Why do you always find yourself coming back there?
Because, I think, the moments after the noise, that's where you get, real truth out of people. The loudness, the action, all of it settles, and you're left with what actually matters. Sand and Silence, for me, lives in that hangover, that ache after. I keep trying to write that moment where memory's just heavy, and you're waiting for breath to return before you can even speak honestly again.
But a novella's so lean, right? There's always the risk of drowning the story in research or detail. How did you navigate that tension? Getting things right, but not weighing it down?
Honestly, research everything, yeah, but don't keep all of it. I checked details, but then chopped out the bulk. It's not about skipping research, it's making sure what's left has room to breathe. I kind of think truth gets heavier when you leave space around it, instead of crowding everything with explanation. I never start with an answer. It's always a question I'm writing towards. This time it was, what do you hold on to when the world tells you to drop your past?
That feels like a lantern moment, a guiding question, not a tidy answer. Was there a particular craft move that changed the tone? Something you did consistently throughout?
Negative space. Scenes finish just a breath too soon, a little early. Most times, it's like the camera holds in the hallway, and you, the reader, you have to step over the threshold and finish the moment yourself. I wanted the audience to really feel like the last lines were theirs to write, too.
Let's hear some of that in action. Would you read us a bit?
Sure thing. By noon the air was a kiln. The road unwound like thread through a loom of light, and he kept to the shoulder where the gravel still remembered night. In his pack, a letter without an address breathed against a canteen, warm as a small animal. He had tried to speak the words out loud, but the desert disliked speeches. It preferred inventory. So he counted instead. 6 fence posts to the next shadow, 40 steps across the wash, 1 breath held to cross the memory that always waited by the culvert. He was not lost, not exactly. The map was inside him, though some of it was torn. A truck passed, then another. Dust climbed his legs to the knee and settled there like ash. When the wind changed, he could smell rain that wasn't coming. He smiled anyway. Something was listening, even if it had no mouth.
That's so textured. The heat, the dust, the way just counting fence posts says so much about what he's carrying. All that restraint, but you feel everything buzzing underneath. Where did those details come from, Vincent? Any real-life threads you pulled through?
Yeah, actually. The counting thing comes from a deployment. I mean, not dramatic, just the mind trying to create order. Counting fence posts or steps between shadows to make sense of distance. And I used to write these letters home with nowhere to send them, just, stuffing them in my bag like some weird talisman. That act, it's small, but it ends up revealing all the stuff you're not saying out loud. The rest is just, well, writing into that kind of rhythm.
Let's talk about that word in your title, silence. It's right there, out front. What does silence mean for you in the book?
Yeah, so most folks think silence is just like nothingness. But to me, it's about attention. It's the pause that lets truth show itself. The space where you actually see each other. I wanted to write for that shift, where just sitting long enough lets something essential in the room change temperature. Silence is, invitation, you know?
You've said before you try to leave things unsaid in your scenes, kind of inviting the reader to cross that last doorway. For readers who want to notice that, or for writers who want to use it, how can silence be part of building a story?
You leave out the expected furniture, metaphorically. Like if you chop the easy explanations, then suddenly there's room for readers to find their own meaning. It's riskier, for sure. Someone might feel a little off balance, but that discovery belongs to them, and that's the only way it sticks. The trick is, leave out the sermon. Keep the honest action.
And for writers who are afraid they'll cut too much, starve the scene, how do you know what to keep?
Solid nouns, lived textures, stuff readers can actually see or touch. One real action, then get out, before you start making speeches. If it's true, the reader will feel it. You don't have to shout it from the hilltops.
All right, quick Q&A, one-line answers. What sentence fought back the hardest?
The desert disliked speeches. It preferred inventory. Weirdly enough, it kind of taught me how to count instead of just filling space with explanation.
What detail did you cut that you still think about?
A whole, perfect page. Technical stuff about heat injuries. It was, well, right, but it didn't belong in this book.
A line you hope readers underline?
Something was listening, even if it had no mouth.
If sand and silence pointed on a compass.
West, but not for the geography, for the light at that hour.
If it were a color.
That color somewhere between brass and dusk. There's probably no paint swatch for it.
Before we close, what's one tiny thing listeners, writers or readers, should carry with them from all this?
Writers, write toward the question you can't answer in a hurry. Let questions breathe. And for readers, look for what's missing. Sometimes the furniture that got pulled out, that's how you know what the house is really about.
A question for everyone to carry into the week?
What's the one thing you're still carrying that deserves a page?
If today's conversation lit something up for you, give us a follow or leave a review. It helps more than you might think. Next week's episode is for writers. Writing truth, balancing fact and fiction. And you'll find links to Vincent's books and articles in the show notes.
This was The Writer's Lantern with me, D.Vincent DeLorenzo, and the excellent Clara Wren. Thanks for sharing the firelight and for keeping the lantern lit. Catch you all next time.
See you soon, Vincent. Take care, everybody.